Welcome back to another Texas Chain Saw Massacre, the game video. Today we're going to be going over the brand new Muerto Times that just dropped for the October update.
Yep.
And then we're also going to be doing a patch review / rush week review. We were just going to do that, but then this came out today. It's like, you know what? Instead of doing two videos, making you click twice, we'll just put it into one. Why not?
You're welcome.
Keeping it simple. Keeping it simple. One video, two topics, ready to run. Okay, so the Muerto Times, the big juicy one is the fix and testing section because they have the Grapple rework in there.
Yep.
Which is, they haven't clarified how different it's going to be, but it's going to be, it's significant enough where they said next week they will be doing a breakdown of how it works in a hub post.
Yeah, so obviously that's going to be a big rework.
Yeah.
They're not just going to say, we're going back to the way it was before.
Yeah, enough to justify explaining it in more detail. Because I don't know what you do with that. I wonder if they're going to have something that's more of a visual cue on who is winning. You know, like a progress meter, that type of thing. That's it's fluctuating. You know, like WWE has. You know, that type of fighting against each other progress meter. I think with that you'll visually notice a lot more latency issues, and I feel like that's why you avoid things like that. So I don't know where they're gonna go with this grapple rework.
Yeah, we talked about it a while back about how we think it would be, like, or what it could be. For example, you can only use your bone scrap and activate a close encounter if you're under half health.
Yeah, that would be effective.
Yeah,
I just think right now grappling, especially because in this current update they did fix grappling, so it's not like family winning all the time. So you're kind of back to the choose fight build, things like that. Grappling pre-launch was promoted as something. It's the absolute last case scenario. You don't want to do it unless you're in a dire emergency.
right.
It's not that. It's not that at all. It's used all the time. It's used for fun. It's used for trolling. It's used purely as distraction, which I think there's a middle ground here where I think both people, like both sides of this battle, can be happy. It's okay to be grappling all the time, but because there's really not much risk with it because there's no longer the insta kill component, that it feels like it's not suspenseful at all to use it. I mean, of course you can kill people that are using it, that are in grapples, but I don't know. It just kind of gets taken advantage of a little bit. So
Right. Have it more be like a close encounter rather than grappling. Because grappling is, casual. Going to just go and grapple them. Whereas a close encounter, you're initiating a close encounter as a last resort.
Yeah. Yeah, because right now, when you combine it with things like choose fight and you can have a stun that's that long, it can be pretty brutal, especially with the proficiency chains and how that is working properly, where you can basically shut off a battery in the same time it takes to recover from a choose fight.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the grapple is just in a weird spot. It's just not what it should be. So I don't know how you rework it to make it better, but I'm curious. I'm curious their thoughts. I think a lot of the times they know there's an issue and they try to address an issue, and as a result they do the exact opposite of what everyone else was thinking. So I'm just really curious where this one's going to go. They also they're fixing the Xbox Series X and S crashes. Didn't experience that because I'm not on Xbox.
Yeah, I really wish, and I know everyone really wish, they could have addressed this in a hot fix immediately, because
a lot of this, to be honest, a lot of the patch.
Yeah, they said that they would address like game-breaking bugs in a hot fix, but otherwise everything would kind of be pushed towards their next patch. But there's a lot of game-breaking bugs in right now, including these crashes that, were about to go on a month.
Yeah.
And the Xbox players, having trouble finishing games.
Yeah, that feels bad, Xbox folks. My bad.
Yeah, especially when the game goes off Game Pass. So now you're really trying to push people to buy it on Xbox, a game that they already have hundreds of or thousands of hours in. And now they can't even play now that it's off Game Pass. They bought it and they can't play.
Yep. It's a shame.
But we're going to wait a month on that.
Things like that are just not acceptable. If I don't know what's the big deal about trying, I guess because they're kind of putting all their eggs in one basket with these builds. I don't know. It's a shame they can't just get all that in like the emergency things like that, get it in right away.
Right. And then like the last patch, so many things changed unintentionally.
Yeah.
We're going to get this big old patch every month, and now there's going to be a bunch more game breaking things, different unintended game breaking things.
Yeah.
And now they're not going to be doing hot fixes like they said before, clearly, because we were waiting a month for
how bad does
fixing that.
How bad does it have to be to justify a hot fix?
Right.
Apparently,
really, really, really bad.
Right. I feel like a game crashing kind of justifies one, but you know. Okay, the next one is Cook highlighting dead bodies. Kind of got some PTSD here because this has been fixed before, and now it's back.
Yep.
It's good for XP farming though. So if you're not 99, throw on Cook right now and just highlight dead bodies in XP farm. Door interactions. It's one of the most annoying bugs. Not the biggest deal of a bug, but one of the most annoying bugs of this new patch is door interactions in both Rush Week and the base game mode. I joke on streams about it. I'm like, dude, it's like your nose is too big. The door's getting stuck on your nose. Yeah, if you're too close to the door when you're opening it, it's stuck on you, and it's stuck on your whatever it's like collision, and it won't open until you back up, and it's really annoying because you're sitting there pressing the interaction button over and over again, but it won't open.
Especially when you're in a chase, you have to back up into the danger.
Yeah. Yeah, or I mean, even the other way around, the chase gets broken all the time. That's what was really annoying me.
Yeah.
It felt more common, and it probably makes sense because the model's bigger, the character model's bigger. When I was playing Johnny in Rush Week, I felt like I was losing so many chases because I'd get stuck on a door. I'm like, God, Jesus. So yeah, I'm glad they're addressing that. And then they said Rush Week audio. The big one's the opening cutscene. That's completely broken. There's actually textures missing too, and the audio is like non-existent. I don't know what other audio I didn't notice anything really bad in my experience with audio bugs.
Occasionally, I would just feel like, did my headphones get unplugged? Like I'd be sitting in a bush for a second. I'd see Johnny walk on by and there'd be no music, no footsteps, no screaming, nothing.
I never had that.
And then I take a couple steps and I really listen. I'm like, maybe I hear footsteps, or maybe I'm wanting to hear my own footsteps. It just goes super quiet, no music, no even ambient music, nothing.
Interesting. Yeah, I never had that. So, okay, let's go over to under investigation. All right, so you got the camera stuck in Johnny inside of Rush Week. Camera was basically in his butt. You couldn't see anything. But it could be fixed easily by just going over to the car and opening the trunk, and then your camera resets. But yes, obviously that's a pretty game-breaking bug if you don't know how to fix it. I have still yet to encounter it personally, but I've seen it a lot. So good to see that one's under investigation. Execution Pack 4, FPS and aspect ratio. Aspect ratio specifically was weird because they throw in like widescreen bars. There was one that was like 4:3. It was just weird. Yeah,
like it wouldn't even, not like typical widescreen bars. It was on the sides.
Yeah, like it was going into 4:3. Yeah, like you're watching on a CRT. It's interesting. Why would that even happen? Because they're not cinematic. Like they're not playing MP4 files when it happens.
Yeah, it's not a cutscene.
Yes, I wonder why that would even. What coding happened to make that? I don't know. Whatever. That's interesting, but I'm sure that's not going to be a huge fix for them. Kills are great though. I'll say.
Yes.
My first review point. I do like the Execution Pack 4. We'll get to that. Damage from hitchhiker traps in front of windows. They're talking about this a little bit, especially when you look at how often the trap is placed at the main window at the family house, where, you know, right now you can step in the trap but still go out the window, and then you're going through the animation even though you're actually still inside and you're getting killed. They're trying to just fix all of that.
Yeah, the camera goes outside, but you're stuck inside and can still move around there. I think a lot of people have gotten used to it. You know, I know exactly. I just do a little spin and then I'm able to jump back out after I get out of the trap.
Yeah.
When I read that, I'm like, they're not talking about the bug that's been in there since launch, right?
No, which one?
This one.
Oh, this one. Oh, yes,
and they are.
They are. Yeah, they finally addressing that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take it, I guess.
Took a year. We'll see if it actually fixes, though.
True.
Then sneak attack inconsistencies. I imagine they're referring to the interaction popping up. I know that's an issue all the time, where you're like chasing somebody, trying to stab them in the back to help, and you just can't get the interaction to go. But okay. Sounds good, dude. Then needs more info. You got the generator and battery mini game issues. Didn't face any of these. Well, I went through a lot of battery and generators. Didn't have any issues, but I did see some clips. So and then you got the valve pressure tank audio issues. And I think that was more of like just literally hearing the handle go on and then it being turned on itself. So yeah, just more audio glitches. That's how it goes.
Right.
There were some other things that in terms like that we were going to talk about in the patch review that are being addressed. The big one was like the grandpa perks got reset. I think it's all of them. At least the perks that we were using, that when they first did the grandpa perk rework, it's back to the first patch of that. They updated it and they changed the balance and moved like suffocating grip down to 1, etc. So now it's just back to where it was before, which, okay. Yeah, so there was the grandpa perk tiers, and then on top of that, they're fixing the victim endurance because that's back to where it doesn't work properly, where anything like above 26
works as 50.
Right. Which you feel that one.
Because everyone throws their all the rest of their attribute points into toughness.
Yeah. So then you start getting really long running victims, and they're hard to kill at the same time.
Yep.
Obviously, that's not the best thing to have. So, okay. So that's where we're going. Sounds good, I guess. It's hard to get too excited over Muerto Times because there's so many, hopefully so many things that aren't included that'll be in the full patch notes. They didn't give a hard release date yet, but they did say that there will be one announced next week, which means it's going to probably end up being the week after that, which would put us into the 21st, the week of that. So
right, yeah, and hopefully then we also would get. I know people are asking in that same thread about content. Content pass stuff in October. This should be the big one.
Should be
October horror, the anniversary.
Should be.
This should be a big content patch.
Should be.
I hope so. I doubt so.
It's not sounding like it. Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing. I thought October. Okay, we didn't get a big anniversary update. It's like, okay, that sucks. As a matter of fact, it's the worst update the game's ever had. It broke everything. But that one was a big enough emergency where they tried to fix it as soon as possible.
Right.
But then I was like, okay, if you're not going to do a big content drop like that, then you're probably going to wait for the true 50th anniversary of the movie, which is, it's right now. It just happened. So, yeah, they didn't even say anything, which I don't know if maybe they're waiting for, because there's, multiple location releases with this, but kind of traditionally, October 1st is the U.S. release of the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. So I'm just kind of surprised that they didn't say anything on that day. Maybe they're waiting a little bit. I don't know. But I thought that for sure that they would do content with that, especially because the Steelbook also comes out this month on the 25th, I think. So, yeah, where is it? I guess they can still announce it next week. We know that a victim and a family member are part of the content pass. We know it's coming. We just don't know when. Like between now and February at some point.
Yeah, you've heard our thoughts on that plenty.
Yeah,
but I would hope that October would be the month where we could get new victim, new family, maybe a new map. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I doubt it, but
one map a year. So we're at the rate. One map a year.
Two maps a year. Not bad.
What maps do we get in 2024?
Well, when did the first one come out? If we're talking like 2024 specifically, but in terms of like the time of the game being out, a year, 2 maps per year of the game's life cycle.
We just got the mill in 2024 and Nancy's house at the end of 2023.
November. Yeah, but in the same year, so the year of release.
Year 2, baby.
Yeah, they've been pushing this year 2 thing, new era. That was kind of what's surrounding the Rush Week marketing, but I am curious if it's time to move on to the sequels, if it's time to start getting some licensed content or what.
Right.
I don't know.
I hope so.
You would think that that's the road we're heading on, but I'm actually truly at the point with this game that I'm a little nervous. I don't know if the player base is there anymore. to justify a big spend for that. I mean, maybe we'll get one licensed piece of content like TCM2 or something like that. But I'm just not sure if it's in a position. I could be wrong. Maybe console numbers are so much better than PC numbers. That's mind blowing. But with the Game Pass fall off, PlayStation player numbers are going to kind of have to carry the game for a while. And you know, the PC's at like 500 average. I don't know. Is it financially worth it to keep pouring? It's not cheap to make content like that. Mm-mm. So I don't know.
I mean, the fact that we 3 people can, with crossplay on, go into Rush Week and search at the same time and get into games together every single time. Mm-hmm. That's not a good sign for at least for Rush Week, their new game mode that they've invested all this time into. The fact that the players are low enough, or the matchmaking is just insane because we're close enough to always get in at the same time. But 3 people, because you can't party up, 3 people hitting go at the same time, we can get into lobbies pretty consistently together in Rush Week.
Which is surprising. Yeah.
And guess what? We haven't teamed one time.
Isn't that crazy?
Huh. Crazy concept.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think we've only really gone against each other once in that way, and we try harder.
Right, exactly.
Is that not a thing that people do? That's why I don't get why people are so worried about teaming. I feel like the average group of friends is like, I want to shit on my friend. Like,
let everyone else go.
Right. I'm like,
but I'm making sure to get them.
That motherfucker's dying. Yeah, like for sure. I feel like most friends groups are kind of like that. Yeah. The teamers exist. I don't know. Okay, let's get into the Rush Week conversation. We're already kind of heading down the road. So Rush Week came out. When it first came out, it didn't work. So everyone dropped their $20 in the content pass. The only reason to do that, other than the execution pack 4, but whatever, the only reason to really do that was to play Rush Week early. And for the first 2 to 3 hours, lobbies just didn't work. It was a miracle if you got into one. So that broke my heart for a little bit. But when they started working, they worked great, and there was no issues, and it was actually insanely fast. Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, they're one of their arguments for no parties was, we want you to go in, out, move on, yada yada. Get into a game quickly, start, play, and do it again. Just in a never-ending loop of that. It is exactly that. That what they're talking about, it does that. So, okay, I hear you. But at the same time, it would do the same thing with friends. It would do the same thing. And we proved that. We proved it. As long as you don't have a broken party system, like they do, where you can't back out after you're all dead without splitting up the party, it would be totally fine. So really, if your reason is that you want it to be quickly, you want to be like, hey, once you die, back out, move on to the next one. If your reason for not having parties is because of that, it's only because of a coding error, because you can't get your parties to work properly.
Right. There's no parties in Rush Week because they literally cannot figure out how to do it.
It's mind blowing that, like, after a year in 2024. We can't figure out a party system that allows you to leave the game together and not disband.
We make jokes every time we play a different game. We're like, oh yeah, we got to restart our game to re-party up. Oh wait, no we don't, because it's 2024. Every other game I played, we played games with a solo developer that have a better party system than the Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
I don't know what it is. I guess Sumo is not used to having a party system like that, but... And now Black Tower's in a position where, like, they would have to go and fix it themselves and probably take, you got to go down the spiral of code to figure out where the problem lies, and they just haven't done it yet. There are more important things to worry about, which I agree. There are more important things to fix in the game, but that is a frustrating one, and it's now we're seeing the effects of it because you can't party up in Rush Week probably for that one reason and that one reason only. So that's weird to me. Teaming I don't think is that big of a concern. I know it exists, but if it's that big of a deal, then make it where if you're playing in a party, you can't play as Johnny. Done. They already have a preference system in there where if you click to play as a co-ed, you will play as a co-ed.
Although that system, you're loading in so fast into a full lobby that you can't change your cosmetic. And a lot of the times, I mean, I'd say I played 20 games a Rush Week. Maybe even more of that in one sitting. And I maybe got the preference to play as co-ed maybe twice.
Yeah, I don't know if it's bugging or it's part of the timer.
I don't know.
Because I could have sworn I was able to click it until like the last second on some of them, but sometimes it just wouldn't show up at all.
No, I'd load in and there'd be about 15 seconds on the timer.
Yeah.
And
so once it's a full lobby, it's boom, 15 seconds and it's go time.
And the preference wasn't there for me ever.
Yeah, it's weird. So, yeah, I don't know where they're going to go with that, but I just never, in terms of teaming, I just don't think there are ways to work around it. And even if you're actually worried about it, I just don't think people team as nearly as much as we show, you know? It's just when it happens, yeah, it is super annoying, but I just don't think it's nearly as common as people think.
But also, devil's advocate, this game is quick. You die, you leave, you go on to the next one. If someone's teaming and you get killed, you're gonna move on to the next one. You can't get XP. Mm-hmm. So what's the point? Just move on to the next one. What are the odds that you're gonna get into a lobby with people teaming?
Right.
Again, two in a row.
Right.
You die.
I would say at most in my experience with teamers, it was 1 in every 10 in F13.
I'd say even
I would
more
say
rare than that.
I'm being generous.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like be the devil's advocate here, and I want to hear both sides. But it was less than 10% of the time. It happened, sure. And when it does, you're like, wow, look at these fucking scumbags. And then you go into the next one.
I'd say even less than 10% of the time
It probably
in its heyday.
is. Yeah.
Now,
Now
less.
it's like non-existent. But yeah, in the prime of F13, I would say at not more than 10%. And again, I think that is being very generous. It's probably less than 5. So teaming, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. So, but aside from teaming, the other big issue you could face, the other big concern I kept hearing was bully squads, where if you have a 6-man party, you know they go in there and they beat the shit out of Johnny. Now, in terms of bullying, I don't think that's an issue at all. No. I don't think you can do it. You can stab him and you can use a wrench. You could do those, together. And there are some components of working together, but it's so limited. You die so quickly. Like it's 2 swings and it's over. Like it's just not realistic to team up and actually bully Johnny.
No, like even right now, you can go in with even some randoms and strategize. Mm-hmm. Someone gets into the car, Johnny walks up, you're sitting in the bush with a wrench, and you knock them over while they're doing the call.
By the way, that happens almost every single time. Like randoms are always doing it.
Yeah.
Like every single time I see the radio being worked on, there's a random in the bush helping them.
Right.
Like it's almost every single time. See, if you're worried about that kind of thing, strategizing, it's going to happen with or without teams, and that's totally fair play. Mm-hmm. Now, so bully squads, not an issue. Where squads become a problem is the absolutely broken RNG that this game mode has.
Yep.
So, like, that's a problem. If you have a 6-man squad, they're winning every single time, or at least someone's getting out of the attic every single time. They're going to have the CB radio done, the phone. They're going to have you so split up. There's nothing you could do. So I do agree with that. I would limit the party size to 3. Probably cut it there. Maybe even 2. But I think having none at all is not a good choice. Playing with your friends would be way more fun. It also should be in private matches already. It breaks my heart that it's not.
Hopefully we wake up next week with the patch notes and they added it.
Yeah, doubt it. But
I doubt it.
Yeah, it would be nice though. Okay, now beyond that, the party system and not being able to play with friends, it's stupid. But the game mode itself, in my experience, I really didn't experience shit for bugs. It happened here and there. We had that one scooter or skirting clip, and then I really honestly didn't have many game breaking bugs. There were miscellaneous things here and there. There always are. They're always going to be.
The doors were more of a problem than any other bugs we had.
100%. The doors were the most annoying thing that I faced the entire time. So in terms of bugs, I know people had some bad ones. I didn't. And I played quite a bit. And I just didn't have any issues with it.
I didn't either.
So I don't really have too many complaints in that regard. I think the game mode, I like how fast paced it is. I like how powerful Johnny is. I like the lack of combat. Even the lack of the things you can do, the lack of objectives, and how it still gives you enough options to feel like you can, be versatile and not stuck in a linear path, but it's not so overcomplicated that you need a whole team to make it happen. So a party is not a necessity for you to escape as a player. I like that. It's got a lot going for it. I like the map. I thought they did a really good job with it. Some of the doors are crazy. There's a lot of doors, a lot of latches. Mm-hmm. So that can be annoying. But I thought you know, it looked great. I loved the Halloween vibes. I just thought it was cool. They did a pretty good job with all that. Like, the game mode has potential. Like, you can feel the potential that's there. The problem it falls apart so quickly because they just can't get RNG right. Like, it's crazy, man. So there are 3 escape options, if you don't know, for Rush Week. 3 escape options. Well, technically 2, but there's 2 ways to apply 1.
Right.
You can escape through the cops, which once you call the cops, the timer runs down. Once timer runs out, the game just casually ends, which, God, I don't really like that. I think the game would be a little bit more exciting if you had to get to the gate at the end, kind of like F-13. We had to get to the cops to be safe.
Agreed.
I just think that had a little more suspense. But at the same time, but you know, Johnny could camp the gate, but I don't think you should be able to do that. I think the cops, like, he's got to avoid the cops. So there should be like an isolated area where Johnny can't go to, or he gets caught by the cops. You know, that kind of thing. Make it a little bit fun, so there's a suspense window in there for you. But otherwise, it just ends, and people just camp in the bushes.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, I guess.
Or camp the ladder.
Well, yeah, that was, yeah. People like that ladder loop is, that one's a brutal one. So yeah, it's just, it's okay. But the ways to call the cops, you can go get the keys for the car, go into the car, use CB radio, call the cops, or you can fix a fuse and call on the phone. And then there's the attic escape. Only 2 people can get out through the attic escape, but you have to just find an attic pole, go to it, climb the ladder, you're done.
Up to 2 people.
Up to 2 people. Yeah, you can break the ladder beforehand. The thing is, the attic pole is it's limited to 6 spawns. 6 spawns that are not hard to find. And once you figure out those 6 spawns, you check them in less than 30 seconds, and you will always, 100% of the time, get the attic pole and be gone. Most of the time before Johnny can even get in the house.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And we can prove that because Chase did it every fucking time when we were playing. He did it every fucking time.
Yeah, I'd finally, find an unlock tool to go do the fuse box, or finally find perfume to get ready. And I'd see that door, Johnny open the door, and bing, escape. Chase the base, escape through the attic.
It was every time, dude. So yeah, that is an issue. Like, the RNG, that is the biggest issue to me. The RNG is beyond busted.
I mean, even the car keys spawn. I mean, I'd say like 75% of the games, they're right in the same spot, right in front of that side
by
door.
the door that goes out to the car.
Right in front of the car. So I just, I go out that door while Johnny's either barging or picking. He doesn't even look over, which I guess, sure, that could be a skill issue.
Well, you can't while barging.
Well, right.
Yeah, or when you're doing the mini game, you can't look over there. So you won't even know until the car is started. So no matter, you can literally almost every single time, you can get the car started.
And the attic.
And
open.
the attic pole at the same time while Johnny is still trying to get into the fucking house. Like, it took an hour, literally an hour of gameplay before the spawns are figured out.
Yep.
And like the co-ed, the sorority girls had it figured out, and they were just dominating. And that is brutal. That's brutal. Now, the thing with the attic, you can counter it, kinda. You can kind of counter it, because if you do watch a sorority girl open it in front of you, you can just break it immediately. Or if you do interrupt them using it, the attic pole can break. So it's there. There are ways to counter it. But if you even try to do that or wait it out, then the other 2 things are going to be done. And then it's 3 minutes and the cops are there. It's just busted RNG. It's way too fucking easy. And it takes a very educated Johnny player to counter it. And it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen. And even then, if you do know what you're doing, you still probably can't counter it most of the time. So, yeah, I don't know what it is with this fucking game in RNG, but dude, they have to either add 1 million more spawn locations for that attic pole, or I literally don't know how else you do it, because that's the route they went. Random spawn. That's it. Like the car keys in F-13, like, and all that stuff, that's RNG based too. But there is more versatility with it, and it's spread out so much because they're big maps that it's not as big of a deal. There's there are single type items, like you can only find 1 can of gas for a certain car, so you have to spread yourself out across the map. The thing with there's multiple fuses on the map. Yes, there's only one attic pole, but the map is so small you can check the whole house in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Because you know where the spawns are. Like, RNG in this game, especially on a small map like this, doesn't work. You have to add so much more and really limit it out. And good luck fixing that. Good luck fixing that problem. Unless they are okay with just dominating every single time. And that game mode will die as a result of it if they don't adjust it.
Yeah. Yeah. One idea we were throwing around is maybe the attic pole doesn't spawn until 2 people have escaped or dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Something.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
4. I don't know.
Yeah. Or like Johnny's at least inside. Like, do something. It's just too easy. I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the biggest issue with the game. And like I said, people are not going to play anymore. You won't want to play Johnny because you're always going to lose.
Right.
And you're not going to want to play the sorority girls anymore because it's too easy. Mm-hmm. Like, it's fun at first. Winning's fun at first. But when you're doing it so easy every single time, it loses the spunk. You lose the spunk. The fun goes away.
Yeah. 95% of your game is just going to be, you can do it in your sleep.
Yeah.
Until you get a Johnny player that decides to go left instead of right, and a very good Johnny player that's able to counter it. And then you kind of wake up a little bit. Oh shit. But then guess what? Your next 10 games, 9 of them, you can do it in your sleep.
Yeah. I don't know. So that's a big no with Rush Week. I see the potential of a mode like this. I love the vibes. Ross Tregenza crushed it again. Oh, yeah. The music's fantastic. It's just, yeah, it's being held back by some design flaws.
I mean, even, running around the map, looking at everything, looking at the Halloween stuff. Like, it's so fun.
It's as close as we've gotten to a Halloween event. It's probably the closest we're going to get to a Halloween event. I doubt we see anything else like this, maybe until next October.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, I want it to be good because the potential's there. It's not going to last in its current state.
No.
So we'll see what adjustments they make as a result. I will say, if they do get the game mode figured out, there's a lot of potential for future maps with it where you can actually make the map based on who the killer is. So we've talked about this before. Licensors probably gave them the green light to do this because it was an original character being Johnny.
Right.
They won't do it with Hitchhiker, Cook, or Leatherface. But let's say the next one you take Sissy. And if the killer is Sissy, the map you play on is a truck stop. Okay, and kind of fits her lore. Nancy, we were talking about a hospital for Nancy.
Maternity ward.
Maternity ward. You do something like that. With Hands, it could be a race car track, at night or something. Campground. It's just something you could do a lot of things where the map changes based on who the killer is, but it fits a similar play style and speed of gameplay. But you got to get this one figured out first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. For Rush Week, anything else on Rush Week?
No, I mean, I think the door bugs is definitely a big negative to Rush Week. Like, if that wasn't a thing, I think there'd be even more enjoyment with Rush Week.
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
It would help a little bit.
Yeah. And yeah, especially, you're in the middle of a chase and you run into a room and you go to shut the door and instead you spin completely around and grab the perfume as he's right there and you die. That happens so many times.
And I had a weird one the last time we played where I was trying to close a door and I just out of nowhere yeeted out a window.
I didn't even know you weren't even close to that window.
It was so random. I was like, oh, okay. So there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Rush Week, you heard our thoughts on it. The rest of the patch is a disappointment. It brought in more issues than it fixed. And yeah, like we kind of already went over it because they're already addressing some of it. The grandpa perks, endurance being messed up again. The grapples are fixed, but they're back to where they were. Can we find a middle ground? A middle ground with these grapples. I don't know. It's another patch that just didn't deliver the way that you'd want it to.
Right. I would assume we get that patch either on the 22nd or the 24th.
Yeah.
Maybe even the 29th. That'd be pushing it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be that week, the 22nd or 24th.
Yeah. Or Halloween. It's on a Thursday.
Yeah, but God,
You got to get an update out before then, man.
Well,
Xbox players can't play.
if they, because Andy already said they're locking into a date next week. Usually that ends up being the week before.
Right.
Like they've been pretty consistent with that. So I would assume it would be the 22nd or 24th. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, game's not in the best spot in the world again. Hasn't been in a good spot in a while. And I because you're rooting for them, you know, like you want the game to be successful. Mm-hmm. The potential's there. We all love the game. We're all here talking about it because we love the game. Doesn't mean you can't call out the bullshit. And there's a lot of bullshit right now. And unfortunately, it's more bad than good lately. But at least Rush Week, for a moment, it showed had the stars shining again.
Yeah, and the struggle is there's quite a few asymmetrical multiplayer horror games that are available right now. Even last year's making a comeback.
Yeah, last year it'll be. Oh my God, does that come out this month?
I believe it does.
What is that?
Oh my Lord.
Fucking stink bugs this time of year are horrible, and that's what this is. And the problem is you can't fucking kill them.
So Forest Hills, the last year, comes out October 22nd.
Yeah.
So we're adding that to Predator Hunting Grounds, which just got,
Yeah, it just came back.
for current gen consoles.
Yeah.
There's still DVDs still there.
There's still Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns.
And Killer Clowns keeps cooking, dude. They have another map, what appears to be a mall map, coming out this month.
3 maps in the first year?
Launching with 5.
And launching with 5?
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
It is in this genre for real. Yeah. So they like, I know people have some issues with that game design, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. So be it. I think that game's a lot of fun, and they fucking deliver. They just keep delivering.
You have
God, if they do that for Predator, oh my God.
Yeah, you have all these games out right now, and TCM is in the worst state of them all.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And yeah, we sit down
which sucks also. Sorry to cut you off, but what sucks more about that is like they're in the worst state, but they're probably the best designed game. They just can't put it all together.
Right. We sit down and we discuss what game we want to hop on stream for, and man, we have all these options, and sometimes we choose to take a risk to have fun with Texas Chain Saw Massacre the game, and sometimes we can get so frustrated.
Yeah, I'd say the last stream was actually pretty fun.
I agree.
And what made it fun was the ability to play with friends in Rush Week. Mm-hmm. Like if we were solo queuing Rush Week, it would have been fun. If we were just playing the base game mode, it would have been fun. It was playing as friends, and that's one thing I didn't say about Rush Week. It is clearly not meant to be ultra competitive. No. And I don't really think it should be, which is why it's so RNG based. Which RNG is fine if it's not so unbelievably predictable.
Yeah.
But like, I really like the fact that you can just go full stupid while playing that game and have a very casual experience, which is why people keep comparing it to F-13, because it's got that type of vibe to it.
Yep.
But yeah, you gotta chill with the RNG. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Killer Clowns, Dead by Daylight, Forest Hills, Ghostbusters.
Skur?
That's not an ASIM game, but good game.
It's a horror game.
It's a fun game.
It is.
It's a fun game. Yeah, it's just that's why, especially now, because Sophonic just keeps cooking, and you already know another ASIM game's around the corner. This genre is just getting started. Even with TCM being in the spot that it is, when you pitch one of these games to a licensor, they're not gonna care about the game's current state. They want to know what you sold. They want to know how much money you made. And TCM made some serious money. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Even from Gun alone, we're probably got another ASIM game on the way. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. But I would prefer if this one didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by that, when I say this one, I mean Texas. I don't mean the next one.
Right. Yeah. Get a game that lasts longer than, 3 years.
Can we get to 2 years?
Right.
Yeah. Jeez. I hope they drop some bombs here, because it's still waiting on the level cap. Like, what's the deal with that? The Nancy buff, they reiterated again. Andy's been on. He's like,
not in this patch,
but it's being worked on.
It's being worked on.
Yeah. I think I understand they're trying to avoid heat, and they know it's not going to be a very productive chat. I don't care if they just eliminate chat completely. I think a community check-in stream and being more personable and getting back to that environment, preferably led by your comm leaders. Let's have Sid do it. Let's have Jet, Andy there. Like, let them actually, and again, turn on the chat. If you're worried about them being attacked, turn on the chat. And just let them address it.
If you're going to turn off the chat, you might as well just make a video. It doesn't have to be even live. Record it, edit it, make yourselves look the best way you can.
Yeah.
And you can then stream that video or just post it to your YouTube and your socials. I think that's, how many months has it been since we had a community check-in?
It's the last one was Matt, right? Wasn't it just Matt?
In January or February?
Holy shit, it was that long ago?
I believe so. And what was that stream?
Well, the Matt
addressing
one,
the issues.
Yeah, it was addressing the issues, yeah. Because then before that, it was the 90 days, you know. Yeah. That's when that started.
That was in January.
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe it was later on. Maybe it was March, April when we got the last stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it wasn't a good stream. Wasn't a positive energy. We're here.
Right. It was handled well, I thought.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It wasn't a, hey man, here's all this stuff that we're looking forward to bringing you. It was, here's the issues. Here's the current state of the game. Right. And yeah, do another stream or record a video, stream it, post it, whatever. Get that out there. So that way people just know that you are here and you're listening and not just brushing people off.
Yeah.
And it definitely,
video, if you're, I mean, because I understand being scared of the chat, community's been pretty brutal, and I'm not, like, rightfully so. Like, some people are taking it a little too far, but being critical right now, I think, is totally fair game. But you know, do something instead of doing it the live chat. Have people submit questions, set up a form,
Reddit,
something like that. And that way you can handpick. And I understand they're going to avoid questions that we really want answers to.
Right.
But it's better than nothing. Let's get some communication going on here.
Right. And absolutely get your front line on there. Get Jet, get Sid, get Andy, get them all in there.
Just let them carry, because right now, like, you just don't need Wes or Matt coming on and unintentionally escalating things. Like, nobody here, unless they're not educated on the process of game development, nobody here is blaming Sid. Nobody here is blaming Jet or Andy. They're doing their jobs and they're relaying the feedback, and they do a good job, honestly. So yeah, nobody's blaming them. So we're not going to take it out on them.
Right.
You know,
some people newer come to Discord or Reddit and they're seeing Jet and Sid and Andy. Now they want to put a name to the face.
Yeah, they know them.
Put a name to the face, have them be, that's what they're there for.
Yeah. I feel like they're super underused.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. Just out here hoping for the best. You know, just out here hoping for the best for this game.
Yeah.
So we'll see what's next. But hey, let us know your thoughts on Rush Week, the patch, Muerto Times, all of it. What's next? But hey, that's gonna wrap this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more updates like this one. And of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.